Because of its poignancy, the track entitled The Flood has been specially selected in a graphic form as a single download or as a feature from my forthcoming album On Main Street. 60% of the 3 songs are going towards the aid of the Global Disasters Relief Fund. The 3 songs are The Flood, It's No More, a sequel to The Flood, by the way, and Little Rich Girl. This is by way of a variation. Simple as that. The likelihood of more disasters remains in some of the world's most poorest countries very real. It's never over. The flagship song for the album, if you like, for this appeal is, of course, The Flood. Now, for each download of each track, the price will be just 97 pence, with 60% going towards the Global Disasters Relief Fund. That's equal to 58 pence. At this stage, I would like to mention the impact of any disaster it can have on the various affected populations. For example, how on earth can anyone avoid flood or any associated catastrophe where thousands of people can abruptly perish in an afternoon? The few fortunate ones, and fortunate they will be under the circumstances, will be made homeless and all their possessions lost. Insurance? What's that? Forget it. That golden word, money, will help tremendously. Now, just a word now on the conversation in the flood. Let us link this to any catastrophe of nature, the flood being merely an example of the conversations under such conditions between 2 persons. At this stage, I would like to mention the song It's No More, just as a sequel to The Flood. Back to The Flood. In this case, the emphasis is on the young boy or adolescent of his concern, and then the voice progresses into a much more meaningful tone. So much so that it becomes increasingly more anxious, and he is therefore trying to live in the moment. For example, what sort of problems will this create? Multiply this by catastrophic examples worldwide, and you can begin to understand the gravity of various disasters. The voice can only do so much for the imagination. For the young boy caught up in such a life-threatening environment that normal youthful living, such as parental gifts, etc., are now meaningless and totally insignificant. Not the best way to grow up, but from that moment on, if he survives, he becomes a man. Now, good songwriters that tell a story within the lyrics need to transform themselves and be so sincere and to imagine realistically, as far as possible, the actual event. This is known as mind photography. The same would apply to various musicians in their guitar solos and riffs and lead breaks. The guitar solo intro in The Flood is such a haunting atmosphere, is what I am talking about. In love songs, and I've written quite a few, this does not apply to the same extent. But as with all music, each have their place to be enjoyed, as with the whole album On Main Street, when completed. Now, at this very moment, a catastrophe could be occurring somewhere in the world. Some of these are on small islands where there is nowhere else to go. Let us not wait for it to happen. They will need money, quickly, in addition to funds which are already being used to enable a return to some form of normality. The greatest gift one can give to these people in life is life itself. Wherever and whenever it occurs, a tragedy remains truly awesome. Let us never forget the people of Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, where a life is still a life regardless. The heartache and grieving for lost ones is unimaginable. with numbers amounting to tens of thousands of dead as well as homeless people. Thank you for taking a little time from your busy lives, which they have not got, and pause a little to reflect. No comparison, really, is there? Please spread the message through the adopted anthem, The Flood, to friends or anyone you may come into contact with. Unfortunately, a catastrophe can take many forms, through famine, with no rainfall, or if not, an abundant amount. Or it could be in many other forms, earthquake, tsunami, etc. It's never over. Once again, thank you.